Ready, Lucas?
Lucas, you good?
Yep.
Show what a color is.
Are you guys ready?
You have to start the music. Good morning, Otters. Today is Friday, August 25th, and it's Resource Day C. I am Jacob Lunsford.
And I am Jack Marciani. At this time, we would like everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. Today for lunch, the cafeteria is serving hamburger, cheeseburger, cheese-filled pizza sticks, fruit juice, baked potato fries, fresh veggie dippers, dipping sauce, and milk. And now it's time for today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Anchors. Today's weather will be partly cloudy and 91 degrees. Back to you, Anchors.
And now it's time for our Character Counts news.
Thank you. Hey, Otters, it's now time for our once-a-week swag tag drawing. Please stop by the media center at the end of the news. Start announcing those names, Anchors.
In pre-K, in Mrs. Bahai's class, Ireland T. In Mrs. Crouch's class, Phoenix N. In Miss Lewis's class, Emily L. In Mrs. Moore's class, Parker S.
In kindergarten, in Miss Ellie's class, Archer S. In Mrs. Fee's class, Mark B. In Mrs. Dunbar's class, Bruce B. In Miss Jetty's class, Lila K. In Miss Cullen's class, Francesca F. In Miss Mutai's class, Lucy H. In Miss Packle's class, Alyssa M. In Mrs. C's class, Ryan Pinto. In Mrs. Gomez's class, Sean M.
In first grade, in Miss Bexman's class, Miles T. In Miss Kahar's class, Stella B. In Miss Lerner's class, Anna P. In Miss Owen's class, Clay A. In Miss Roberts' class, Nicola K. In Miss Sebastian's class, Colton B. In Miss Sheen's class, Aiden C. In Miss Webster's class, Quinn D.
And now it's time for second grade. In Mrs. Black class, Brooke H. In Mrs. Fitch class, Ella H. In Mrs. Freck's class, Neela S. In Mrs. Horton's class, Harper S. In Mr. Corn's class, Connor B. In Mrs. Reed's class, Jake A. In Miss Rosberg's class, Riley H. In Miss Seaton's class, Mila Trowowski.
In third grade, in Miss Capano's class, Rocky W. In Miss Cullen's class, Yanis M. In Mrs. Dalton's class, Madison K. In Miss DePola's class, Peyton R. In Miss G's class, Emery B. In Miss Hopkins' class, Virginia H. In Miss Rudolph's class, Uggy C. In Miss Durham's class, Thomas B. In Mrs. Carey's class, Lee H.
And now it's time for fourth grade. In Miss Fry's class, Elliot P. In Miss Garner's class, Owen K. In Miss McVeigh's class, Nalia B. In Miss Netti's class, Oliver H. In Miss Sawyer's class, Amy C. In Mr. Rogers' class, Himcresh S. In Mr. Wiley's class, Charlie C.
And now it's time for fifth grade. In Mrs. Conroy's class, Adjadra D. In Mr. Flowers' class, Eli A. In Mr. Go's class, Austin P. In Mrs. Huckle's class, Violet F. In Mrs. Bizarre's class, Rory M. In Mrs. Pivina's class, Zia J.
In Miss Dover's class, it's me. So yeah, I got called. The Jags are playing at Everbank Field at 7 p.m. against the Miami Dolphins in their final preseason game tomorrow night. Teachers, this is a reminder to take attendance and lock your classroom doors. Have a fabulous Friday. We will see you back here on Monday. And remember, every day, everyone, everything matters.
Good job, guys. That was awesome. High five. Good job.
No, they changed it. You were like, it's me. I'm Mario.
Wait, did someone say bye? I heard someone say bye.
That was Miss Shore.
That was so good, guys. Good job. Excellent job. Excellent job. Yep. That was fun.